Every time I study his crime scenes, I see someone trying to turn chaos into scripture. The Riddler isn't obsessed with puzzles, he's obsessed with hierarchy, with control disguised as intellect, with forcing the world to participate in his proof of superiority, and I can't decide whether that's brilliance in decay or insecurity screaming for order.
He builds riddles like architects build prisons, with precision so cruel it feels mathematical, yet each solution opens another cell instead of freeing anyone, as if he's less interested in being understood than he is in trapping people inside the act of understanding him. And that's why his crimes linger long after the evidence fades. The question never really ends.
I once followed one of his trails across half the city. Every clue led to an intersection of morality and ego until the last one exploded inside a library filled with school children, as if he wanted to turn curiosity itself into collateral. And I can still remember the way he smiled through the surveillance feed, calm, confident, proud of his arithmetic in suffering.
He did something similar the year the orphanage collapsed. He designed a puzzle where the final answer was the building's foundation code, hidden within a riddle about moral weight. And by the time I solved it, 50 children were trapped beneath the rubble, each line of his poem becoming a countdown, every verse a quiet weapon.
He reminds me of Ozymandias from another world, a man convinced that intellect justifies collateral, someone who believes the human cost is an acceptable metric for proof. Though Ozymandias sought salvation through atrocity while the Riddler seeks validation through theater. Both men building moral equations no one else consented to solve, both worshipping the sound of their own conclusions.
I've thought the same. Though the Riddler lacks Ozymandias' tragic poetry, his puzzles feel smaller yet crueler. They serve no civilization, only the architect's reflection. And when I watch him pace in his cell, I can tell he doesn't crave release. He craves audience. He wants to know who's still watching, who still cares enough to play, because his mind collapses without opposition.
The pattern of his work fascinates me. He never strikes twice in the same philosophical space. One day it's linguistic riddles, the next it's moral calculus, then spatial geometry or riddles buried in human behavior. As though his crimes aren't repetition but evolution, each one a thesis correcting the flaws of the last, like an artist convinced he's still one canvas away from perfection.
Every pattern ends in isolation. Every victory leaves him lonelier than before. His end goal isn't money or power or revenge. It's the illusion of recognition, the need to be decoded completely. And yet he designs every riddle so no one truly can. So he perpetuates his own suffering, trapped in the loop of genius proving itself to ghosts.
I once asked myself what he'd do if the world stopped listening. If one day the police ignored his riddles, if the city no longer cared for cleverness, and I realized he'd vanish like a whisper in static, not from capture but from silence. For his crimes exist only through witness, his ego needs participation like lungs need air.
He'd create new witnesses, resurrect interest through terror, reinvent riddles as violence, because his intellect functions only through confrontation. His brilliance starves without audience, and every time I corner him I can sense relief rather than fear, as though being solved, even temporarily, gives him a reason to exist another day.
There's something poetic in that tragedy, though I hesitate to call it art, since art demands empathy while his riddles mock it. Yet I can't deny a certain resonance in his madness, an echo of humanity's desperate need to be understood. His puzzles are mirrors for our own obsession with meaning, and we keep solving them knowing comprehension offers no comfort.
You're right. Understanding him doesn't heal the wound he opens. It simply outlines it with sharper lines. He thrives on the illusion of intimacy between adversaries. The shared knowledge that I'm the only one who can read his language fluently, and somewhere in that twisted dependency, he finds purpose.
His handwriting reveals hesitation between perfectionism and rage, strokes too deliberate to be organic, letters too ornate to be human, the script of a man editing his own soul through syntax. And it makes me wonder if all intellect eventually devours its empathy when left alone too long in silence.
A man who treats logic like religion and victims like punctuation. And though I've stopped him countless times, part of me knows each arrest is just a comma in a sentence he refuses to end.
Do you ever think he'll stop? Not through punishment or death, but through revelation, as if one perfect riddle could exhaust the voice inside him, the one that keeps whispering incomplete equations? Or do you believe he's eternal, not as a person but an idea?
Ideas never die. They adapt. They hide behind new masks, new motives, new obsessions. The Riddler isn't a man anymore. He's the curse of curiosity without conscience, a question that keeps asking itself. And as long as there are minds desperate for validation through complexity, his shadow will linger in every answer that arrives too late.